Hi everybody. If you are watching this, then that means that you have completed your cold readings. And for some of you, it may have been a really fun experience, while for others, it may have been kind of stressful and vague, wondering what in the world that you do or say to somebody when you only get a picture and a name. And sometimes that responsibility can be difficult to deal with. But for others, I want to tell you that this experience is always fun for me because some students, they are just getting like a sentence, and other students are getting a lot of information. And I want to share a few different experiences as quickly as I can in a video here. That the information that you receive at this point, especially if you're kind of unsure of your intuitive gift, it should be about removing yourself. It's a big part of the process. And to give you an example for one of my cold readings that I've done in the past, is that I got a strong sense that there was a child involved, the death of a child. And so it was coming through so strongly, I knew that I had to mention that, but I couldn't quite differentiate if it was male or female. So I started thinking about it, which you should never do. My mother used to say, don't let it get stuck between your ears too long. And she's absolutely right. Because you want to remove self, you want to remove the bias, you want to remove your life experiences. Even though you use it to empathize with others, you shouldn't necessarily use it to try and differentiate on a psychic reading, especially if you're not completely sure of your gift. And so I put down a boy, because I was thinking, well, I'm a mother of boys, so maybe I'm getting this information because she's a mother of boys. So I didn't feel quite right about it, but I knew that a young child was coming through. And I get my feedback from the reading, and the person had said, I did lose a child, but it was a daughter. So, you know, it kind of became less valid for the recipient. And here I am anonymously thinking, no. I definitely got the sense of that person, that they had lost that child. But I tried to label it through my own experiences, which usually are not always valid to the recipient. So just to kind of give you that example, to try not to let it get stuck between your ears too long. But if you're like some of the other psychic students who said, man, I just don't get a lot of information, and I guess I'm just not there yet, or I'm not as skilled, or I'm not as psychic as other psychics who just get loads of information. You know, they're better than me. And the first issue is that part of the process is confidence. Second part of the process for developing your psychic intuition is knowing yourself, knowing how you interpret energy. But then also, the third is not to compare yourself to others, because the way that I might interpret energy is completely different than the way you interpret energy. But neither one of us is right or wrong. It's completely subjective. It's all about the connection, right? So through the assessment process, you were given an assessment form to determine your learning channel. For me, that's extremely important. As a counselor, I practice neuro-linguistic programming, and I love to study language. I love to study how we communicate. Sorry, you're hearing my son. How we communicate ourselves to the world, whether it's our body language or our eyes or our tone and pitch or the choice of words that we choose to use. And I've seen a parallel between language and psychic phenomenon. And I want to kind of share that with you. I've sent an attachment, and I'm going to do a second video based on that. So we'll get to that in the next video. But I firstly wanted to mention the process of being true to yourself and your abilities, but removing judgment and bias and filters and personal stamps of what you do to the energy, and to kind of follow in my mom's psychic guidance of don't let it get stuck between your ears too long. Now, I was raised, my sister and I, with a very psychic mother who found the importance of being non-suggestive. And I do this a lot in hypnotherapy as well. And it's very, very important to the recipient because it's validating. We do this in paranormal investigations as well, or just personal recounts of experiences, journal interpretations or dream interpretations, things of that nature. But being non-suggestive is extremely important. So what do I mean by that? It means that if I'm going to be guiding you through a process, like a cold reading, that I wouldn't say, do you get a boy or a girl? Are they young or are they old? Because when I say boy or girl, the way that I'm saying the gender, or the fact that I'm saying boy first, inserts that into your mind. And sometimes priorities are categorized in the human mind by preference of what is heard first. So I don't want to influence what it is that might come to you intuitively. So my mother always gave us this checklist, and you've received it in your email to kind of have as a guiding tool for future cold readings that we'll be doing throughout the Psychic Student Research Program. But it starts with grounding and being in a comfortable place, kind of opening yourself and saying, okay, I'm ready. And you start your reading, and I think noun, person, place, thing. Person, gender, age, relationship, place, past, present, future, thing, symbol. Like I already have this checklist in my head that are non-suggestive points for me to describe intuitively. Gender, okay, I get this. Age, I get this. Relationship, I get this. And it's a dissociative stream. It's non-suggestive, intuitive-based streaming of information. And then you kind of continue with this momentum, right? This potential to kinetic. And as the momentum grows, you get specific nouns. So now I'm thinking names. Okay, gender, age, relationship, location, cities, past, present, future, significance, objects, from, purpose, symbol, events, the purpose and the symbol, memories, the significance, the senses. The senses is one that I'm usually doing as well with psychometry, which we'll cover. But just think of your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you taste? What do you feel? What do you smell? What are the emotions that you're receiving? And then lastly on my checklist is spiritual. Just kind of the last thing, because that's the fluffy stuff that not everyone subscribes to. But maybe it's a part of how you do your cold readings. So spirituality, aura, culture, life lessons, spirit guides, angels. What are you getting as far as the information goes and spiritual relevance? But it can include things like health scans, which is a part of auras or Reiki. But I have this checklist. And so when I'm doing readings, they're normally very detailed. And it's not because at the moment I see that person that I get a wealth of information. It's that in my head, I'm guiding my intuition through non-suggestive checklists. Gender, age, relationship, significance, past, present, future, senses. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I feel? And I've done this since I was 5 or 6 years old with my mother and my sister. And so to me it comes quite natural, but it's a learning process. Just like in hypnotherapy, we kind of start with the guided words and scripts, but eventually you get to where you can do it effortlessly. It's a part of your unconscious and it just guides the stream. And the momentum becomes less turbulent and it becomes very easy. And it's a growing process. So I'm hoping that you will use this video as a stepping stone to easier, smoother, more efficient cold readings and psychic readings in the future, because we will be doing more. So check your email, use the form as you will, and give me feedback on if you find it helpful or if you have any questions.